Hello everyone, this is Typhos, aka Pog Racing in Real Life, and this is
There's
Dev Diary.
a couple of things that I'm going to discuss and show in this episode. The first is a little revelation on sound. The second will be the alien pathing system that I've got. And then the third will be level design. Someone asked how I go about creating my levels and that sort of graphical style. So I'll cover that as well. So first things first, audio. Right now I'm creating 3 source audio files for each sound that the game will use, and this is because different target platforms support different audio formats, and then when the game gets compiled to a specific platform, the compiler and translator will build the appropriate file format into the appropriate export directory. So for example, MP3 files will go with the Flash build. WAV, for example, will go with the Windows builds. OGG for HTML5, and so on and so on. The other thing I'm going to show you about this sound, and this is absolutely genius, I think. I've only recently discovered this thanks to the forums that I use. It's called BFXR, www.bfxr.net. It's a Adobe Air app, and it allows you to generate completely random game noises. If I just hit this randomize button a few times, you'll get the idea. And then there's a couple of presets as well, so if I hit the laser shoot button, and then explosions. Reminds me a lot of Defender, the old arcade game. Power up button. And each of these sound effects can be exported to WAV format. This is absolutely great because up until this point, all sound effects that I had used had been stuff, things that I had done myself. Bashing cans together in front of my microphone, clapping my hands, and then tweaking the pitch and tone, dropping stuff on my desk. One of the games I used had an audio file of my dog barking that I had tweaked and compressed, and then fiddled around with in Audacity to make it sound like something other than a dog barking. But this is great. I wish people would make more stuff like this, because it makes creating sound and audio really simple. The sound implementation in the game is just the Diddy framework sound. So just loading each sound into Diddy's sound bank and then pulling it out and playing it as I need to. There's a slight problem with that, but I'll explain it in a second. And I'll need to try and figure out a way around it. It's an issue with the channels. Actually, I'll run the game at the minute and let you see it. Just compile into HTML5 quickly. The only sound that I've got in at the moment is the player fire. And the other sound being collisions between the player's bullet and the alien ship. But these two sounds are competing for a finite amount of channels. So as you can hear, it's either playing the collision sound or it's playing the bullet fire sound. If a fire sounds fine, as soon as I start hitting the ship, they're competing for audio channels. So I'll need to try and come up with a system whereby my
I can
plan
give
at least is to give a priority to a sound effect. So for example, the player shooting sound effect will have a higher priority than a bullet impacting an alien. So if those two sound effects are trying to play at the same time, the system will make sure that a channel is freed and a bullet fire sound effect gets played, and it will ignore the bullet impact sound effect. If I can get this system working, then it'll be really good for later on in the game where there's lots and lots of stuff happening on screen at the same time, lots of noise, lots of channels being used, and then something really, really important happens, like a boss is about to enter or some sort of alert is about to happen for a big wave, or some noise generating thing that's really, really important to the player. I'll be able to give that a much higher priority than everything else going on, and make sure that sound audio plays. The level that you can see scrolling in the background right now is stage 3. I think this is probably the first time anyone's seen it. Oh, and the paths that this alien is just randomly spawning on a different path each time it's killed, each time it goes out the screen. So as I've been flying up here, you've been watching it follow these arrows, follow these different paths. It's still just running through its normal bullet pattern. Or no normal bullet pattern, but it's just running through every bullet pattern. So that pathing system, I'll just explain a wee bit. Essentially, the ship has got a turn speed, a normal speed, and then an accuracy. It's loading in at the spawn point on a path, picking up the angle from the node on the path that it spawns at, and then it's flying. As it turns, it's turning at a fixed rate towards the next node on the path. So if nodes are close together, I could get it going in a loop, or increase the angle at which it turns, or decrease the angle in which it turns so it turns faster. I can't actually make it come up, I'm just going to hope it comes up itself. There's a path, it's probably already happened, where the ship will come down from the middle top. It'll fly down to just above the player and then do an abrupt turn and head back out the top left or top right of the screen. That's it, down it right there. The turn on this bottom point is going to be really, really, really sharp. At the moment it's just on its standard turn rate, but it's going to come down, it's going to stop, do an abrupt turn and then head out. And it will pick up that turn speed from the node as it hits the node. So each node has the ability to pass on its turn speed, its speed, its turn accuracy to the alien ship as the alien ship passes the node. Another example would be in the arc, or any path for that matter. The first node might give the ship a very fast speed. The ship will fly in really quick, and then when it hits the second node could slow the ship down until it gets to the third node, and then you can do something else with it, change its speed again, or change how quickly it turns, which gives us quite a bit of flexibility in how the ships travel through the screen, what speed they travel through the screen. It's not just a fixed speed, I can completely make it variable. I think that's about it on pathing. I'll just give you a quick look at the pathing code. This is my create paths function. So basically at runtime I dump all this pathing information into the system. Each path has got a name, and then each node on the path. Nodes represented by X, Y values, the angle of the node, its speed and turning speed, the position the node is in the path, so that's node 1, node 2 and node 3, and then an additional variable parameter, spawn and death. The death node, if an alien reaches the death node, I'm going to terminate it, kill it and get it out of the way. At the moment aliens are just being terminated if they fly far enough off the screen, but I'm going to clean that up a bit and have them terminate on that death node. I plan on having some alien ships that when they terminate, they will release big explosions or bullets or fragments or something that will cause a hazard to the player. So some aliens are going to be like kamikazes. They'll fly halfway into the screen and then they're going to detonate, they're going to blow up. And that's what the death node will be. I'll just place the death node in the middle of the screen. When the alien gets to it, boom, loads of bullets. Probably a dead player. And now, finally, level design. I've actually got a time lapse of me creating a level. I'd run it at normal speed, but it's really slow. I'm kind of taking my time doing other things in the room, and it's kind of a long video, so I'm going to time lapse it, speed it right up, so you can get a better look at it. So I'll play that now, and then that'll be the end of the video. So while this time lapse is running, I'll just explain a wee bit about what I'm doing. Essentially what I've got is an 80 tile grid. These are each individual tiles that I can then use in our level editor for creating our levels. As I said, the way that I've done this really isn't impressive. I'm actually cutting a lot of corners. I could create each of these graphics independently in game using vectors, apply a nice blur to each line and achieve an almost identical result, but that takes up processing power, takes up time, also takes up development time to actually create the system for drawing, rendering and positioning those vectors, and that's time that I don't have. I'm on a kind of time constraint with this project. Essentially baking the textures and creating tiles in a art tool is just far simpler, saves a lot of time, makes it a lot easier for me to manipulate and change stuff if I need to change stuff, and basically that's what I've done. When it comes to actual concept behind the level, I've tried to give each level that I've done so far a unique feel and a unique look, or theme, to go with each of their colours. This is stage 4. The colour for this stage is green, so the whole stage is going to be very organic. Lots of alien tree looking outcrops and alien vines and kind of green alieny type stuff. When it comes to actually doing the art, right at this point I've got absolutely no idea what I'm drawing. I start with a basic concept that the player ship needs to launch from a big spaceship, from a big mother drop ship, or whatever you want to call it. So that's what I'm drawing right here. I'm drawing some big mothership, and basically what I do, or what I've been doing, is starting off centering around the main focal point tile, like 77, 72 and 67, as that's the main central point on the level where the player ship will be launching from, and then I'm just building from there outwards, applying glow effects to the lines, and then I just take the rest of the level like that. Every tile from 60, 64 up is then board tile. It's then tiles used for creating the random different bits of the level. I might make another longer video showing how I do that in next week's or the next Dev Diary. I'm kind of running out of time here,